Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo emphasized the urgency of finalising the country's external debt restructuring on Tuesday. This initiative aims to help the nation recover from its worst economic crisis in decades. And I am joined by Patrick Ba-Abankwa, a financial analyst and investment advisor. Thank you, Patrick, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me on your show this morning.
Absolutely. Now, Ghana's president has stated that the country aims to finish restructuring its external debt as soon as possible. Talking about as soon as possible, how soon are we looking at here, and what will be the impact of further delay?
So from projections, we are looking at the discussions ending somewhere between now and the end of June of this year. That's the projection, because when you listen to the Paris Club and other external debtors, that's the kind of discussion that they are putting forth to the Ministry of Finance and the government. It has delayed a bit because some of the conditions that were placed forth by the government were not favorable to them, so there had to be some renegotiations, and that has delayed the process. Now, the question of if the process keeps on dragging, what's going to be the impact on the economy? At the moment, we've seen some kind of better state of the economy since the beginning of the year as compared to last year. Last year, we were in the region of about 53% when it comes to inflation. But since the local debt exchange program ended and also some kind of assurances from IMF came in place, the economy is beginning to recover. If the external debtors who also hold about a chunk of the debt of the country begin to drag their feet, then some kind of discomfort will begin to creep in back into the economy. And when that also continues again, it begins to weaken the confidence that some other creditors have with the country Ghana. So the earlier we settle on some of these discussions by way of closing the deal with external creditors, the better for the development and the economy of the country.
Well, let's talk about the current factors that might be slowing down this process.
Yeah, so the conditions that are slowing the process, one has to do with the duration of the restructured agreement. So that's the duration of the restructured agreement. Then two, some of the interest rates that are being agreed between the government of Ghana and these creditors. Then again, even the structure of the payment going into the future. All of these things, to a large extent, does not give some of the creditors comfort. And also, even the possibility of government being able to pay the extended loans that have been agreed upon. They want some kind of clarity in terms of government showing evidence that they have enough revenue to be able to pay the loans that are being pushed forward. So that's also another reason why the agreement or discussions have prolonged at this point in time. And until they get some kind of clear vision and clarity, they are not going to sign to some of these agreements. And that's why government of Ghana over the last 6 months or so, as part of its budget, has introduced a number of taxes to be able to rake in revenue, so that they'll be able to pay some of these foreign debts that will be due if they are able to restructure them today.
All right, well, Ghana secured a $3 billion loan program with the IMF last year. And of course, in January, it reached a deal to restructure $5.4 billion of loans with its official creditors. Talk to us about the impact of this on the economy so far.
So what that has done so far is that giving some kind of confidence to people that want to come and do business in Ghana. So for the last 2 years, we had some international companies moving their plants and production from Ghana to other external countries or neighboring countries like Nigeria and Sierra Leone. Now, when there's an agreement with IMF, it begins to give them confidence that things are going to get better. So some of these institutions begin to bring forth their funds back into the country. In terms of foreign companies that are also in the country, who ordinarily would have repatriated their funds whenever they make profits, some of them will want to keep their funds back in the country. And once they keep their funds back in the country, it strengthens the local currency of the country. So you realize that our currency has been fairly stable for the last 6 months or so. Again, it also impacts on inflation. Inflation is also now on the declining stage for the last 5 months or so. And that together has direct impact on the purchasing power of people living in the country. So even though we say the recovery has been a bit slow in terms of the impact of the IMF deal, with time, if things go as they are going at the moment, we expect that things will get better between what we experienced last 2 years, and what we should end the year 2024 with.
Well, let's look at, long-term economic policies or reforms that Ghana should implement alongside debt restructuring, just to ensure, debt sustainability in the future. What are the things you are looking at?
First thing is that we need fiscal discipline. The government should be very disciplined when it comes to its spending. Projects that will not be adding to the revenue of the country immediately should not be embarked on. Again, government should also ensure that taxes are collected and they are used for the rightful purpose. Issues relating to corruption are still very prevalent in this country. So I think that government should also continue to stay within its budget to be able to ensure that everything that is being done are being done according to what has been planned and approved by Parliament. For me, these are the critical things. Again, we should focus on improving the service industry. When you look at the GDP of this country, service industry takes more than half of that. So emphasis should be also placed on the service industry. Again, agriculture, which is the second contributor to the GDP, should also be enhanced so that we will get more revenue from that place and also be able to employ the teeming youth that are unemployed in this country into some of these sectors that I've mentioned, like the service sector, the manufacturing sector, the agriculture sector. Once these sectors are strengthened, it has ripple effect on increasing the revenue of this country. And once revenue is increased, it leads government to be able to stay within its course and be able to also embark on infrastructure projects, which will lead to the economy revamping and boosting beyond what we are seeing at the moment.
Well, as a financial advisor, I won't let you go without asking you this particular question. What are the potential risks and, benefits for private investors who are holding Ghanaian international bonds, in the context of the ongoing restructuring process?
I think the benefits or the good thing about holding the bond is that once they are restructured and government is laying down its process in line with what has been agreed with IMF, returns that they are going to earn from some of these bonds will be higher than what we have on the other markets. So that's one benefit to them. Returns will be better for them. Two, government of Ghana over the last 10 or 15 years has a record of also keeping to its promise when it comes to paying its bonds until we recently entered into the debt exchange program. So that's some kind of comfort or some kind of confidence that if you keep your funds in Ghana, one, you are going to get higher returns. Two, when the time is due for you to receive your returns, you're also going to get it. So that confidence alone is also something that they should be mindful of. Again, they should also account or demand accountability from the government of Ghana so that all these plans that we are talking about will be adhered to. If they find out that things are not going as expected, they have the powers as debtors or investors to call on government to do the right thing. And for me, because there's some kind of democratic nature between creditors, investors, and the government, they will have always a good chance to be able to implement their ways that they want to implement to be able to get their investment amount being grown over a period of time. So for me, the is quite okay. It's just a matter of looking for opportunities within the country to be able to invest and get the returns that they require.
It's a pleasure having you, Patrick Bankwa. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me today.
Thank you for having me on the show once again. Thank you.